me, Jess. Welcome to my channel. I'm here with another channeled message. This is a specific message. It might resonate with you, it might not. Okay, so I feel like something here is like crescendoing. There's some kind of karma, but it's wrapped up. I'm hearing karmic realization, but it's plural and it's for many different people that have been wrapped up in a particular karmic pattern that is played out here for lifetimes. And I'm seeing like a fireworks show where, it starts out, it's like, ooh, like one firework and then, another firework. And then it just builds all the way up to like the big final finale where it's like, oh my gosh, like, whoa. And this energy that I'm tapping into feels like that. It feels like many fireworks are going off. It's like these kind of karmic realizations, and it's helping everybody in the situation to kind of like wrap up their conclusions, any confusions that they had. It's clearing out like any kind of like karmic debris. And the way that I'm kind of tapping into this energy does have to do with a masculine who I feel like is finally realizing certain things. Because I think he's received some kind of karmic payout in this particular lifetime. And the energy that this masculine is in, he's having, I'm hearing this, like karmic realizations. And it's like, I feel wibbly wobbly in my legs, like his heart, like, I feel like that's part of it too. Like, because I kept hearing, I can't remember what song this is, but it's like cardiac arrest. Like, I feel like there's like sensations kind of like popping off in his heart. And there was like tears like pricking behind my eyes, but it felt like sad tears, and it also felt like angry tears, and I felt like nauseous in my stomach. And this was like coinciding with this masculine having certain realizations. And the first realization that I noticed that he was having has to do with this karmic friend. And I've channeled some messages here about this karmic friend, and she was his karmic friend in past lives, and she was just very jealous and always pretended like, she was a friend and that's all she wanted, and she was unbothered, but she would always try to leverage her position and her closeness to him to try to sleep with him and to try to potentially like mate guard. I just heard mate poach as well. So we'll talk about that here in just a second, but definitely mate guard. So she is very underhand, and she would sabotage in particular his connection with Venus, which we'll talk about here in a second, but just anybody that she felt like was a rival, she would try to do that behind the scenes in a very underhand, kind of cut you at the ankles, cut you at the knees, very vicious, but also very underhand kind of way. I'm seeing this friend, and this has come out in the readings, but I'm seeing this friend as being divided between her Venus and Mars energies, at least where this masculine is concerned. So it's like she saves her Mars for the other women is what I'm getting, but it's not happening in front of him. So he just has this demure image of her of being pleasant, being Venus, and now he is starting to realize that she's two-faced. And I'm hearing, oh, you tried to come between me and my wife? And I'm hearing wife and bride. So it's like, I realize now that you were coming for my wife. Like, or you were trying to, you took something from me, or you tried to take something from me. And I feel like that's actually come to fruition in this lifetime. It's hard for me to tell how things played out in this scenario in this lifetime, because I feel like there's many different possibilities, but it's like, what's done in darkness is coming to light. There's no secrets here anymore. So basically there's this masculine, and I'm seeing like three feminines. I'm kind of going out of order here. But I feel like maybe that's the way that the karma or the karmic realizations have kind of come to play. But basically in past lives, there was one masculine and there's three feminines. And again, this could be groups, because I get the sense that this man has hurt like a lot of feminine energies, and it's all through his Mars energy. It is through his selfishness, through his strategy, and through his schmexual energy that runs him. I think he mirrors all of these women in some kind of way, and in this lifetime, he has to confront the mirror of himself in each one of these women. And so this karmic friend here, he confronts that he has been two-faced. He has tried to show a Venus side of himself while still being this selfish, strategic a-hole kind of behind the scenes. And so he sees that reflected back. And I think, again, there's a feeling of disgust and like, how could you? And the feeling that's coming up too is like, I trusted you, but I guess I got what I deserved, because he knows he was in some low vibrational energy if he did, like sleep with this karmic or jump in with this karmic, something like that. So there is this kind of feeling of, again, karmic retribution. Like, I guess I got what I deserved. And I feel like that potentially is also karma for like the wife. There's somebody here that I want to call the wife. I'm not sure she's his wife in this lifetime. Again, that might be very karmic, but in past lives, she certainly was. But this person is like his Venus. So this is the person that he loves. And I feel like, she may well have been hurt in past lives, by this, whether she knew it or not, because there's a lot of undermining of this wife, this Venus energy, but it's like, it's very behind the scenes. Because I feel like in past lives, this man would like marry and impregnate this wife, not necessarily in that order. They would always meet up and he would keep her somewhere. Like, I feel like he would put her up in a house or something and they would have like their little life. And this wife would just be totally snowed by him because they really do have this like very strong soulmate connection. She loves him so much. He really does love her so much. And she just thinks they're in their little cocoon of like marital bliss and that they have this little family together and that her life is perfect. She really trusted in him in these past lives. But it was no good because he would lie and say that he was going off to work or something here like that. And he's betraying her behind the scenes. And again, a lot of this feels energetic. And he was betraying her because he's sleeping with these other women. And I think he told himself, like, he compartmentalized, you know? And I do think that there was an effort by this man to protect his wife emotionally. Like, he didn't want her to find out. It's very much like what she doesn't know won't hurt her kind of thing. But that was actually false in past lives because him sleeping with these other women, and we'll talk more about this as the reading progresses, but the things that he would insinuate and the things that he would say actually stoked up quite a bit of hatred towards his wife and quite a bit of jealousy and ire, and it emboldened something. And I always pick up on this reading where people end up in the river, you know, and I do think that these women could have ended up in the river. You know, if it's not one of them, it's another one. I think it was probably the wife the most because she's there in public. She is, you know, she's got his name and his baby. She's like owned in public by him, you know, she's claimed. That's, you know, in public. And then he's telling these women, you know, God knows what, in order to be able to sleep with them in the long term and have them tolerate this kind of arrangement that I think it did harm the wife, either socially, just energetically behind the scenes. But also I think that it drummed up to violence more than once, like in past lives. That could have really shocked him here as well. So in this lifetime, I feel like it came out that he's not who he claims he is. I think the wife, whether they're together in this lifetime or whether this is what kind of drove them apart, she no longer has that perception of him, that he's her man and that he is her Venus. You know, she understands that she felt something to him, but she understands him to be a liar and a cheat, I think. She understands him to be involved with other women. That's very karmic. But it's also very karmic because he tried very hard in other lifetimes to get her not to see that side because he did not want to wound her emotionally. And to him, he was like, no, I love you. And this is a very real part of me, and this, I'm dedicated to our family and I'm never going to leave, and this is but I have this other side to me that you don't understand, but it doesn't mean that I don't love you any less. So again, his selfishness and his lack of discipline around his schmegduality is causing pain to all these women. And that's like very much this karmic scenario. You've got one man here that's trying to play these three women to try in selfishness so that he's the only one that actually gets a life worth living and gets what he's wanting out of this. He's trying to play all of them against each other through his lies and deceit. And he doesn't see anything wrong with it. But in this lifetime, that's done. He's going to see something wrong with it. Because I do think in this lifetime, he couldn't prevent it from hurting her. Like, it just wasn't allowed. I actually think behind the scenes, spiritually, all three of these women, or however many women are involved in this, these could be categories, but it's like all three of these women were very much in cahoots saying like, this stops here. And I'm seeing them all put their mirrors up and they all kind of owe this man some kind of like karmic experience. So this karmic friend is taking him out at the kneecaps, but he could have taken her out at the kneecaps. He takes other people out, you know, and she reflects back this two-faced nature. Like, oh, you acted very friendly to me. You know, he might have to feel the wife, and I don't know if she's his wife, but he has wife feelings towards her, you know. The wife needs to experience somebody who is, I just heard, wholesome. So like, even if these two were potentially married, there's a chance that they get divorced because he's dallying around. Because we live in modern times and people can do that, and she might remarry and then experience someone that is like holistic, truly integrated in their masculinity, has a healthy sexual energy, is very kind and considerate, and especially not just towards her, but towards women in general. Like, very much sees women as people, doesn't see them as pawns or objects for his satisfaction. And he understands that they have lives and they have hopes and dreams. Like, she needs to experience somebody here like that I just heard, I can love you like that. I can make you my world. So I think part of this man's karma is watching wifey move on with whatever. And then there's this Mars lady, and this energy has been coming out in the readings, right? This exact format that we've been exploring. So Mars is very much a schmegsual energy. I feel like I just heard smoking, like a smoke show, something here like this, very sexual energy. And I feel like in past lives, this was some kind of affair, like long-term affair, some kind of hidden affair that he also pursued. Because with the friend, he's not really pursuing a schmegsual relationship with this friend. This friend is almost like hunting him, but under the guise of friendship. The same way that he hunts women. Under the guise of being a good person, right? So it's his own sabotaging energy. Well, this Mars energy in past lives, he pursued a schmegsual relationship with her, and she, I'm hearing like tolerated it or pursued it with him, but it's kind of giving like, maybe she did that for a living, like it was some kind of brothel situation, and there was like money exchanged, but she has a lot of resentment. I do feel like towards men in general, and in this lifetime, she may well, I've picked up on this before, but she may well be attracted to women because in her past lives, she has not been treated well by men. She's not been seen as a person by men. And it's a lot of karmic, like build up a lot of karmic resentment that she's not treated as a whole person because this man is hurting people and he doesn't treat them like they're human beings. I don't care how nice he is. He needs to realize this isn't, who cares about nice? He's not a good person, but so with this Mars energy, I feel like he would sneak off over there, again, like take care of this side of himself. There was probably money exchanged. But this Mars person was very resentful. I'm hearing like of her station in that past life because she was hidden and she didn't want to be hidden. So she wanted the name. She wanted the money. She wanted the house. She wanted her child to be legitimate. She wanted, she wanted to be like claimed in the public. She didn't want to be like the dirty secret, which could have prompted attack like by her. I kind of think she's very hidden as an enemy towards this wife. Like this wife doesn't even know to defend herself from her. And I think probably she's the one that went at her to put her in the river multiple times. Probably. It also could have been this friend. It's really hard to tell because this husband is a hidden enemy to his own wife because he's stoking up these energies. He's lying to these other women and stoking up their energies, building up this hidden jealousy and this hidden resentment that makes his wife a target. And it's very energetically undermining as well. And he's also a betrayer to her because this man is basically like saying bad things about his wife that he doesn't really mean. He doesn't really feel, but he's saying like, oh, well, she's a this or she's a that. But really she's just the brightest star to him. He just loves her so much and he will never leave, right? So he may well end up with Mars in this life. It's kind of a toss-up which of these women he's going to end up with. It just depends on how this situation kind of pans out, but he very well could end up with Mars in this life in some kind of marriage, whether this like wife person that was wife in past lives doesn't want to be with him at all and just leaves, and this man has no other options. He's probably going to choose Mars because she's physically attractive and maybe is like some kind of arm candy or something like that, or he's going to marry wifey and then this dalliance is going to come out into the light in this lifetime, and now we live in modern times and wifey can leave and she does, and then they end up in a marriage together. And the reason that's very karmic because Mars doesn't want him. She doesn't want him. She doesn't love him. He doesn't love her. It was never built on that. It was some kind of like, I want what I want out of this situation, which is smegs. You want what you want, which is money. Like it's this kind of transactionary thing. But in past, she never got what she wanted fully. And he would always say, well, I can't do this or I can't do that because think about my reputation, think about this or think about that. So Mars gets to basically take from him in this life. So she's going to get the things that she wants. She kind of has, so she has an opportunity basically to like kind of go at it. So I'm seeing like a karmic crossroads because in order for this man to clear up his karma, he had a couple choices. He could choose wifey. He could go after wifey and he needs to leave these other women alone. Why? Because they're people. He needs to not lie to them. He needs to not give them a false impression of his woman. He needs to not give them a false impression of himself and his feelings. He needs to stop being selfish and he needs to get his sexual energy under control because I'll say it again, he hurts people with it. Just through being selfish. And he doesn't have that image of himself, but he's two-faced. And that two-facedness it erodes communities. These women could have missed out on opportunities. They could have ruined other relationships, et cetera, et cetera. He could have impregnated them in past lives. I mean, this could have they took the brunt of like the payment of what it cost, in past lives. So he could have chose wifey and he could have left these women alone and the karma would have been wrapped up because everybody would have been respected in this situation. He would have shown that he learned his lesson, et cetera, et cetera. But if he dallies with them, I really do feel that this I'm really strongly getting it's this Mars person. Somebody here like would get pregnant, so now he owes them child support. But I really think too, like he may well end up marrying this Mars person. In which case she's got the name that she wanted. She has access to his money and his bank accounts. If they don't get married, she will probably get pregnant, have a child by him that has his last name, that is legitimate in the eyes of society, like is associated with him, and he has to give her child support because she wanted to extract the resources that he had and was giving to this other woman, and she would only get, you know, a couple $100 here, a couple $100 there, even if he had impregnated her in that past life, because she was a woman and she didn't have rights and that was her station, etc., etc. And I feel like that is what she wants. And there is like kind of hatred between these two, where she wants to potentially go at him. She potentially wants to destroy this this relationship here with this feminine. There is aggression coming from her. It's resentment of like being treated in a very negative way, like over lifetime after lifetime. And so it's like karmically he owes her that, like, you know, the name and the house and the and, you know, legitimizing her. Like if he's going to involve with her, then legitimizing her. So there's some kind of karmic pay here. I think the final tower moment here for both this Mars person and this karmic friend is the realization that this man loves her, like this wife. He loves her. So whatever ends up playing out in this situation, and whatever, you know, because I feel like he's made his attention a commodity. Again, this is part of the selfishness. He wants these women kind of fighting over his attention, or feeling like it's scarce, or feeling like they have to give in to his version of like, well, it needs to be this way because think about my family, think about my reputation. Oh, well, society says this. You know, it's always been like about that. But there's something here where they have to realize that whatever games that they were playing to participate in this football of his attention, he's always loved this wife. Like, I think he tried to give them the impression that he didn't, in order to get them to participate in this, and in order to manufacture their consent in his version of whatever he wanted them to do. And so I think their tower moment, I think for each of them in their own time or whatever, is to notice how much I'm seeing from like the Little Mermaid, like where he's like, look how much he misses her or something. And then that's when King Triton gives his daughter her legs back. It's like these women both have to realize that they were kind of getting played, and that he loves her. He never a day in his life, in this lifetime or any other lifetimes, did not love her. He was lying about that. And they can play this game of attention with him, but it was never a game of love. And I think that's part of wrapping up the karmic cycle, so that they can finally be at peace with this. I think they get what they want, you know, in some kind of way, like gets to sabotage, or gets the child, or gets the name, or, you know, and then eventually I think that also this Mars person, because he was cheating on his wife with her and she was like the dirty secret, she may well have somebody on the side too, where he's like the dirty secret, and that could be a tower moment here as well. So that he knows how it feels, because wife would never do that. This like wifey lady would never cheat on him, because he's just the love of her life, you know, and she would just be completely devoted to him. But it was all no good, because he wasn't showing the same loyalty back. And I think he may have to watch a man step in. I just heard, and treat his kids well as well, like just see this happy little family, and like be on the outside of it, you know. And this Mars lady over here is probably going to put him in the same situation. Although I can just see that there's no love here. There might be, I think the schmegsual conquest is enough to keep these people occupied. It's enough for them to kind of go in after. And he's going to feel, I just heard like emasculated, drained. She basically gets to drain him, like of his resources, of his time, of his, because I feel like that's what he did to her, like in a past life. So all of this is like very messy. But there's some version of this playing out where like the karmic scales are being rebalanced, because this man needs to learn to leave people alone. He needs to learn to not to be greedy. This is a kind of greed, and it's just, he shuts off his empathy. He doesn't view women as people. He views people as objects. And he doesn't realize like the damage that is like caused here behind the scenes. But I think, again, all of that is coming to the surface, where he couldn't prevent the heartbreak, like from his wife realizing, and I say wife because she very well might not be his wife in this lifetime, or maybe she was and now she's no longer, I don't know, but it's like in his soul he's married to her, you know, like she's the only one that he actually feels those kind of love wife kind of like feelings towards. I don't think he could protect her heart, so he's gonna have to. But he in the past he was fine breaking these other women's hearts, or like not considering their hearts at all, because he didn't feel invested in that way, you know. And so it's tearing him up. I just heard it's tearing up my heart when I'm with you. Like it's tearing up his heart that he broke wifey's heart over here. And I think he's starting to empathize like with these other women. I think he's like really been having to deal with a lot of deceit. Like I think this friend, I think something's come out about this friend recently where he's like, oh my gosh, I cannot, like, y tu brute. Like, I thought that you were my friend. I trusted you. I believed you. You know, I kept you as like my confidant, and here you were trying to go at my woman, and you were trying to go at me, and you took something from me, you know, something like that. Like, oh my gosh, you know. And then this Mars person, I think, is just, her loyalty was never with him. She wants the money. She wants the legitimacy of it. But she may well, you know, especially if she has that kind of background, she may well have those kind of karmic connections with people still, where there's like a draw in schmegully. Like she may well be cheating on this man, and so he gets his just desserts over there, where he knows what it's like to have somebody step out on you and have to put a brave face on it, or be put in a position where it's like, well, everything that we built, and you know, okay, well, if I leave, then I have these consequences. You know, it's like, I feel like this is like this big kind of karmic explosion, and it's ensuring that this never goes back in, like, that the genie never goes back into the bottle, basically. Because I think this friend is going to realize, like, you know, that she's been found out, first of all, and that it's just not on, because, yeah. So she's, I think, going to move on. I think could be somebody here in her background that she let go in order, I don't know. I think Mars here as well. It's kind of like, like I'm seeing her draped in jewels or whatever, like just with stuff. I'm like, I was here for a while. Like I got these other people. And when she realizes that this masculine, like whatever she did, because I think she could have done something underhanded as well. Again, all this is karmically sanctioned because he needs to make the choice to not involve with these people. So it's fair game. So she might just be like, well, okay, I'm going to move on. You know, like I have this other option or like whatever. So she may well move on. And I feel like this masculine is kind of left in a heap of his own like depression or despair. Like even if maybe these, I don't know, he might not necessarily leave one of these relations. I don't know, but it just feels like sad, depressed, lonely, like having to confront himself. And he needs to realize that he's got some addictions is what I'm hearing. It's affected other people. It's like his karmic work of like, I'm responsible for my actions. Like karma literally means action, and you need to be, you know, right and proper action. So it's like, it's supposed to let him know, like, you're not outrunning this anymore. Your actions are your responsibility. Your sexuality is your responsibility, your body, your competitiveness. Like you need to stop levying, because it's like, he's just outsourced all this pain to these women that were pointing the finger at each other. And, I mean, somebody here ended up in the river. Like it was always one of them. I really strongly feel like it was wifey most of the time, but it even could have been some of these other women at times. Like some of these, they lost their life. Like knock it off, you know? That's really what this comes down to. So he's got to get this under control. And it just feels like a lot of pressure, like put right at this masculine energy here at this current time. But there's also tower moments going off here for like other people, in the ways that I described. So that's what I have for you. That's it. So if that resonated, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Bye guys.